Hello, everybody, and welcome to Vibing Out with Texony. I'm your host, Texony, aka Mr. WorldVibe. And what we have here is a community to give local voices a public platform, shared ideas, knowledge, and perspectives. So this is season 2, Go Home, where a majority of the episodes will serve as a guide for you to return home. But not just our physical house, instead ways of returning to the best version of ourselves, which could be, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, or spiritually. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go home. Now, this episode is about toxic positivity. It's a Psych Saturdays, and I'm really inspired to talk to you guys about this topic today. Why? Because I've had so many conversations with you guys leading up to this episode, just hearing your guys' perspectives, your ideas, your truths about the matter. It sounds like a lot of people understand this topic, can relate to this topic, and have been guilty of, actually going out and being toxic positive at some point in their lives. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about my experience with it. But I'll start with the definition, and then we'll talk about at the very end just some ways to deal with it, to maneuver around this pervasive issue that's going on right now. So before we get into everything, I just like to start with saying thank you for being here. If you're a returning viewer or listener, you already know I appreciate you for being here, for supporting the channel, for supporting the growth of this community. If it's your first time here, well, welcome. Okay, we do weekly episodes. And if you'd like to support me anymore, join the Patreon. Okay, it's free to join today. You'll have access to so many episodes, so many behind the scenes, early access, and all the details and previews of my upcoming book, How to Vibe Out. I'm so excited about this book, guys. I'm working on it. I'm almost done writing. I'm starting design. So yeah, just a lot of things going on in the works, but I'm really happy to be here right now to talk to you guys about toxic positivity. So let's get into it. So let's start with the definition. I only found out about what this actually formally meant a few weeks ago when I started researching this, but I come to find out I've been a victim of this a lot of times in the past. So my definition of it, from all the research I've done online, the best way I can put it is toxic positivity is kind of like the refusal to acknowledge the elephant in the room, like the negativity. You don't want to acknowledge the bad, so you just coat it with positivity. And it doesn't work. It's not effective. It doesn't help the situation. It doesn't help the person that's coming to you for advice, for support. It's kind of like an unnecessary use of positivity. You know what I mean? So I feel like you'll already understand and be able to think about instances when you were like this, So like I said, before we get into kind of how to deal with this, let me talk about my personal experience with this. And as I'm talking, I want you to think about your own experiences, share them with me, leave a comment in this video about times you're toxic positive, message me, DM me. And while you're at it, like the video or, follow me or subscribe, however you're listening or viewing. So I'll give you a sec to do that. All right, we're good to go. So yes, I've been toxic positive at so many points, especially years ago. I'm generally a very positive person, hence this podcast. Positivity is a part of me, and I think I'm very good at being positive. But that has a disadvantage because you can't always be positive. That's the point of what we're talking about, toxic positivity. It can be a bad thing. I'll never forget this moment. I was with my friends, and I was just being, very happy, overly happy. And they told me, they're like, Tex, we can tell when you're not doing well because you're extra happy. I was blown away to hear something like that, because who are people to tell me who I am? You know what I mean? That was a weird thing to hear people tell me who I am. I was not self-aware. I was very low in self-awareness at that time. And that's why I remember this memory so vividly, because when people tell you who you are, you want to, pride, be like, no, I'm not like that. But then you get to reflecting, and it's true. At times in my life when I was going through emotional problems, mental problems, I would try to come off as more positive than usual. And it doesn't feel right. It doesn't look good. And like I said, people knew. So as the years have passed and a few years have gone by, I've been able to like learn about myself, heal certain parts of myself, and I've come to the realization that, can't always be positive. I made this podcast to share positivity, and as soon as I did that, as soon as I started the podcast, the pandemic hits. So you can't just always be positive. It doesn't work. I had to start making episodes about COVID, about social justice issues. I had to make episodes about negative and just serious topics and go that way. So I've been working through this idea of toxic positivity in my personal life, through the podcast, and the last thing I want to do is come across as some channel or community where just positivity, you have to be positive. Like, no, it's okay to be negative, to kind of go into your emotions. That's another thing. Like, as a guy, as a man, as a boy, whatever, like whatever stage I was at in life, as a guy, it was always about keeping your emotions, don't feel too much. And that's just, unfortunately, that's just kind of one of those stigmas where you can't really open up as easily. If you're a guy, you're supposed to keep in your feelings. It's normal to glaze over everything with positivity. So I can say, as a guy, it's easier to fall victim to toxic positivity. But again, you learn, you become aware, you reflect, and you're able to push past these, like preconceived notions in a sense. So let's go on to the negative impacts. I've kind of talked about some of the negative impacts in my personal life, and let's just go into that a little more general is, suppressing emotions, they'll come back. Your subconscious kind of runs you. They say 50% of the things you do, of the actions you take, are run by your subconscious. So that's why making things into a habit is so important, because if you don't even think about the things you do, you'll end up doing the things you want to do. And if you don't do the things that you want to do, you'll end up doing things you don't want to do. Does that make any sense? So your subconscious really runs you. So don't think any suppressed emotions won't end up coming back. They always do. And so that's what hiding your feelings, not actually facing your feelings will do. So if you try to mask over negativity with positivity, it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on a open wound, that needs like stitches or surgery. It's not gonna do anything. Do you know what I mean? When it comes to supporting other people come to you with their problems, and they're having a bad day or a tough time. The first thing we want to do sometimes is deny their problems, minimize their problems, just to kind of make sure they feel better and say, nah, it's fine. You're okay. You're okay, right? I mean, you've been through this, but you're good. And I had that sketch I did. A lot of you guys watched it and appreciated it.
Yo, what's going on, dude? What's up? Nothing. Just not having the best day. Nah, get out of here, man. You're fine. What's wrong? Oh, I'm just feeling off today, man. I can't shake it. Bro, honestly, just be happy. You're good. Look at me. Bro, you're good. Bro, I legit don't feel good today. Is that okay? You know what? Nah, I can't be around this, man. I will not tolerate anything less than 100% positivity. Therefore, I am leaving. Good day, sir. But you needed... I said good day. All right, I'm going back to bed.
The point of that was to, again, show an example that toxic positivity is so easy to do when we're supporting other people, when we're trying to support other people. But oftentimes we need to just listen to people, support them, and just say, I'm here to listen to you. We have to validate their feelings instead of being like, nah, don't feel that way. It's fine. Just move on from that. No, you can't really move on from every feeling. So I guess what I'm saying is, and I've looked up a lot of research on this because I don't have enough experience to talk about it just off the top. I like to do research on these Psych Saturdays. I've listened to a few psychologists and therapists talk about this issue, and I agree with this way of thinking. It has to be a balance. You can't just say to somebody all the time, just be happy, focus on the positives, just keep telling yourself it'll be better. That's not going to work every time. Sometimes you have to go the other direction and say, I understand. It's okay to feel upset. Just talk to me. I'm here to listen. what's going on. Like, you have to go into the negativity and lean into it sometimes. But on the other hand, doing that all the time is not really effective. If someone's having a bad day, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I've seen you had bad days before in your past. I've seen you go through these things, and I've seen you come past them and go through them and come out the other side. So I hope that you can do that. I'm here to support you. So you're able to sometimes be like, you know what, you can try to be positive. Sometimes it's okay to try to lean on the positive side. The whole thing with being toxic positive is constantly leaning towards that way, or just defaulting to go that way without considering maybe some instances you need to lean into the negative. So being able to balance out which way to go with the positive and the negative is going to help you in your personal situations and make you more compassionate, supporting to other people in their situations when they come to you for support and just to feel better in a situation. I love this quote by Carl Jung: "I'd rather be whole than good." And that is to say, I'd rather be a person who can lean into the negative and the positive than just be someone who's always happy. Don't those people scare you? The people who are just like every day, like just all the time they're happy. Like, that's scary. You know what I mean? I don't know. It is scary. So I think you'd agree with me. You'd rather be someone who is whole as a person, who's balanced, who can go whichever way you need to based on the situation. I also love this other quote. You can call it a cliche, but maybe you haven't heard this before. No true leader has 2 good days in a row. And I love that because I feel like I get to lead with the things I do, with the paths I'm taking in life. I think it's very different from a lot of other people. And just telling you right here, like, I don't always have good days. I've told this to a few friends, but I'll just admit this with you guys watching and listening. You can tell personally that I'm not having the best day if I don't post a lot on social media. That's a pretty fair thing to say. If I'm busy or occupied or just not feeling motivated, you'll see me post very, very infrequently, very less posts. That's just a personal way to tell. I don't go and post if I'm not feeling well. I don't fake a smile for you guys. I don't do that. I just take a seat, take a step back and do my own thing. And that's to say, like, I don't always have great days. Some days I'm here, some days I'm here. I'm able to be positive most of the time, but I'm working on being able to embrace the negativity. So going back to that quote by Carl Jung, sure you'd agree. You'd rather be whole than just good all the time. And I guess the last thing I want to say is just stay mindful, stay aware of the way you treat negative situations. If people come to you for advice, for support, don't just default try to throw on positivity. Like, if you're feeling good, you can't just make a person feel good. I know it's something we want to do. For me personally, I always want to spread positivity because I'm 90% of the time feeling good. But I've realized through this podcast, through what vibing out means, it's not easy to just give people positivity. Sometimes you have to let people be in their problems, and the most we can do is tell people, I'm here for you. If you want to talk to me, let me know. I'm here to support you any way I can. Validate their feelings, listen to them. Same thing for yourself. Give yourself the self-love, the self-care, and be able to, embrace the negative in a productive way. That's not like self-destructive. Like, don't go and do drugs or do all these things to cope. Like, find ways to cope healthy and to, actually be productive. But, at the same time, you have to go that way sometimes. So I don't want to say the same point over and over again. I hope by now you've learned something, you've agreed with something I said, or you've had a moment to just reflect in this episode. And like I said, let's continue the conversation. We just had Bell Let's Talk Day yesterday as I record this. And it's a great day to talk about mental health, but it should be an everyday thing. I'm very proud of how psychology has evolved over the years. A lot of you guys know I went to York for psychology, and in 2013, that's when I kind of started in university. A lot's changed in the field of psychology. Neuroscience has been on the rise. We've learned so much about the brain, and mental health has been broken down. Like, the stigmas have come down a little bit. So we're able to talk a little bit more. And I'm just so happy to see all the people who have talked on Bell Let's Talk Day, who have actually opened up about their issues. This is something we got to keep doing. And I think toxic positivity is just one place, one moment, one idea to do that. Because like I said, we all want to be positive, especially in these times, these hard times. We want to just find ways to be happy, but it doesn't work that simply. Sometimes we have to lean into the negative to come back to the positive side, like a full circle, kind of like our shadow selves. If you know anything about shadow work, do that as well. Try to learn about that. But that's all I have for you guys today. So if you enjoyed listening, if you enjoyed watching, give this video a like, a comment. Make sure you subscribe or follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And yeah, I'm just happy you guys listen. I'm happy to be here, and I love doing Psych Saturday topics. So I'll see you guys next episode. Thank you for watching, listening. This has been Vibing Out with Texony. I'm your host, Texony, aka Mr. World Vibe, and I'm signing out. Peace.